Fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
What's going on, guys? Episode 9 of the Turn 2 Terribles podcast. I am Jimmy Barr. I am here with the other two Terribles, Josh Aaron and Chris Lynn. What is up, fellas?
What's up?
How's it going?
Jacked up after a good racing weekend? Not so much.
A busy one. It was a busy race weekend.
Yeah, it was very busy. We had the trucks at IRP. We had Xfinity and Cup at the Indy Road Course. A lot of crazy stuff went down there. Take a look at the playoff picture. We'll talk a little bit more silly season as some stinks continue to move around. We'll talk a little bit about the World of Outlaws this past weekend. Some real drama there, both nights, kinda. I'm sure we'll get into a debate about track safety. And we'll take a look at some of this other stuff and a new segment. We don't know what it's going to be called yet. We need your help to tell us what we should call it. But we're going to do it. We're going to do a new segment. So let's get into it. Let's get into trucks at IRP. Their return, I don't remember the last time that they've been there. It's been a long time. But from what it seemed like, I didn't get to see in the race. I know you guys both watched it. The racing was great. Big hit. What are your takeaways from it?
I think Xfinity should go back. To start with. Lead off with that. Go ahead, Josh.
Josh.
It's my favorite truck race of the year so far. I love IRP. I think IRP is just such a cool, different track. It's something that they don't really get anywhere else. And clearly a lot of people don't know how to get around there.
I don't know. The Truck Series drivers know how to get around some of these places, or most places, to be honest.
Even still, it wasn't a disaster like some of the races are, like Knoxville last season and other things. It was typical short track stuff until the end, but most of all, it was a little bit of strategy. You had to get track position, but it was it's what that series should be on. Places like that, except for a few special shows, I feel like.
Yeah, I think me and Chris were talking about this during the race, but I think it's, one of the cool things about the new playoff structure, how it is. You had a Grant Enfinger guy, no wins, made the playoffs, and goes out there and wins the first race of the playoffs.
Right.
They've just been good and strong all year, and they were rewarded for it. Now they're the number one in the playoffs right now. So,
how about NASCAR taking the truckster back there and making it the playoff opener? That's pretty.
Right.
That's pretty ballsy, but it seemed to be a successful move.
Right. I mean, if you look at the race itself, kind of going to that with John Hunter had a pole, I think, really good most of the race. I think the interesting part, stage 3, when Ty Majeski was kind of gone, got sail, and started getting run down by Granitfinger there, passes him, and he, like, Ty just got so tight, and Finger just caught past him and was gone there with like 3 to go, and there was that Carson Hosford decided to just murder a truck. Is that what happened, Josh, in your opinion?
Yeah, I would say he turned somebody into the outside wall pretty bad.
Going into turn 1, and that kind of shuffled the deck. Everyone pitted, and they got real spicy there. And it kind of sucks. At that point, you thought Enfinger was kind of in trouble because he came out like 6th car, 8th, 7th car, somewhere back, and John Hunter stayed out. And then he decided to go be a jerk.
Yeah, John Hunter didn't make any new friends at all. But right after that,
who did you put in the wall? I forget. Gray.
Gray. Yeah,
Right.
one of the Grays because they
Great
didn't
restart,
pick.
got out.
Yep.
Got in front of him, and he just straight hoaxed him. He's like, see ya, bud. And then Zane Smith became everyone's hero by returning the favor right after that.
The very next restart, Zane Smith just pancaked him into the wall.
Right.
Zane Smith is turning into one of my favorite drivers.
Yeah.
I think he's very talented.
Drove in there so deep, and I love the post race too. He goes, "Well, I knew if I raced him clean, he wasn't going to race me clean, so I just drove in there."
He decided to race him dirtier than he was going to race me.
It was great. I mean, John Hunter's got this isn't the first time that he's come up in conversations like this before. We talked about Ty Gibbs in other episodes, and even John Hunter had issues with Ty Gibbs early in the year. He's starting to build that reputation where he's going to move you before he tries to pass you. And a guy that's had a decent Cup season last year or other year in a KBM truck, he shouldn't have to drive like that. So it's good to see someone decided.
If you're going to, at least own up to it. He wouldn't even own up to it.
Right. He wouldn't even own up to it. Say, I made a mistake, and he just wrecked me. Like, well, no, you wrecked him. Tell the truth. Great race, though. I think it's a good atmosphere. I think Xfinity should go back there. Kind of gives that series an identity that week instead of not racing at all or having them on the Indy road course where they're kind of just there. They could go back to Pocono. They were kind of an afterthought, even to you and me, Jimmy. They're just there and mixed in midday Saturday. Give their own identity a little bit, and it's kind of a step between where those drivers are coming from ARCA or K&N or those series.
I do think you still need to keep a good mix of type of tracks for the truck series, because if these are your eventual call-ups, if you will, to like the Cup series, they need to have experience on road courses,
right,
short tracks, big tracks, all that. But I do agree. I think they should probably do 60% of the schedule on shorter tracks,
and that makes those big tracks special. Like when you're at Daytona, or you're at a road course, or you're on big Atlanta, or not so much anymore, but a big NASCAR track, Charlotte. They become marquee races for that series. It's not just another race that no one watches.
I think the issue with all that is, you see it when they do go somewhere where the Cup and Xfinity guys aren't there. They're limited crew members. They can't do live pit stops because they don't have enough people, stuff like that. So I think that's probably an obstacle that they need to get over. They basically need to hire more crew members to be able to do that.
Or your races are so short anyway, get rid of the stages and do it back to how Truck Series started, halfway break. Just like they do Dirt Derby at Eldora and things like that. You just do half the race, give a 10-minute break. You can do anything you want to the car within, like you would do on a pit stop, send it back out there. No live pit stops that way. Same concept. It's just making it's another half step to the big leagues.
Right.
That's how I would do it.
Yeah, I could see that. Either way, they have some obstacles there to be able to be their full independent series is going to be tough. It's not like, some of these, like ARCA, they can do it. but
Yep.
trucks can't, like just because they're so connected to the big NASCAR teams. So, yeah, I think it was I only saw highlights. You guys actually watched the race, but to me, you just had some people it was classic short track racing. It brought it back to the roots of what the truck series which was a lot of short tracks, and I'm sure they'll go back to North Wilkes-Barre and maybe some other tracks here because they used to run all of those tracks, and I do think that would be a step in the right direction to get fans in the stands for one, but at the same time, develop these drivers. As for NASCAR, putting it as the first playoff race, which I thought that was ballsy and that was awesome. Grant Enfinger, though, I mean, he hasn't really, sneaky. That's the thing about the playoffs, But
I think he has the experience, so like it's not like it was a random. This guy's been there. Last year he had a limited schedule. He's had speed. He's back with from what they were saying on the broadcast and everything. He's back with his crew chief he was good with a few years ago, and they picked right up. You never know. If you figure it out now, you could find yourself in Phoenix in the championship four, and that's the kind of guy who could do a Ben Rhodes style win like last year.
Which, I mean, Ben Rhodes, I'm a fan of, but Ben Rhodes placed second. That's sneaky for this race because he ran 10th to 15th almost the majority of the race. It was I think stage 2, he was in the top 5 when pit cycle went through, but late in the race, he was 10th through 15th, and then they started just wrecking each other, and he somehow wound up second.
Yeah. So going into the next, I don't think they go to Michigan, do they? I don't think they go to Michigan.
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, they do?
Yep.
So that should be.
Oh no, that was Cup Series.
They might go to Michigan.
Richmond's
their next race. So,
August 13th.
So they got a week off. A lot of playoffs get pretty intense. I don't think that's the last type of chaotic race where people are wrecking each other. I don't think that's the end you're going to see that for the Truck Series this year.
Nope.
Richmond, Martinsville, and Talladega are all still on the schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. So good move by NASCAR. Been encouraging to see a good truck race. Let's shift into quickly the Xfinity race. AJ Allmendinger won. Not really a big surprise. That's like his 7th win, I think, on a road course. So he's always the favorite, no matter what the series, when it comes to that. So I don't know. I don't really know anything else that really happened in the race, to be honest. It was wasn't that.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of it. I had a birthday going on that day, so I had it on the TV and I kept looking. But I mean, if we would have done a DraftKings, every one of us would have had Allmendinger on there. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's nobody picking against him. Not really sure. Anything else of note, Chris? You notice anything from that race?
I was not even home for that race, but I mean, the Xfinity Series puts a better race on there than most. But I kind of saw this there at IRP. I mean, it's good for Dinger and Colleague and them. I think Allgaier, I don't even know honestly the results, but sets them up well going into their playoffs here in a few weeks.
Yeah,
I guess Bowman was second.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Allgaier was 3rd, Chastain 4th, Briscoe 5th.
I did see something when I was scrolling through Twitter. I guess Chastain got into somebody in the Xfinity race, and they were not very happy. But I mean,
surprise.
I think that's just surprise. But
we can talk. I guess bigger picture Xfinity. With Gregson winning Pocono, Ty Gibbs still probably being one of the favorites there. I think you still have to count Allmendinger as far as championship favorites.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think those are your three. Maybe Austin Hill. Maybe I think he's more of a fringe, but I would say the championship and Allgaier would be the other one. Those, if I was picking the championship 4 today, it's Gibbs, Gregson, Allgaier, Allmendinger.
Yeah, I agree. I
And it
don't
would be
see
a hell of a
anybody else
battle.
getting in there unless like a Brandon Jones gets a win.
Right.
That's
Right.
the only other.
That
That's
would-
the
that'd
only
be
other
a-
person I could see sneak in there.
That would be a hell of a championship 4, though. And Josh is
Yeah. Can't hear you, Josh.
Okay.
I was gonna say Josh Berry. Yeah, I was gonna say he's
Oh, yeah,
fifth in
Josh
points
Berry.
right now with 2 wins already.
And they had to go to Martinsville.
They do
Sam,
go to
if
short
he
tracks. They go to Bristol and Martinsville, right?
They can
So
survive. He can get to those races. I mean, he's shown speed on the big tracks, like Josh said last week, but he's still the short track ace.
So, yeah, I would throw, but I think those 5. I mean, it's gonna be 4 of them fighting for a spot. I think out of those 5, really.
I think it's clear cut though. Gibbs versus Gregson. I don't. They're just
Phoenix,
the
though?
most. Yeah, they're just the most consistent every week, no matter what. And they have probably the 2 best cars in the field, and they are out to prove something. They're trying to get those cup rides. You know what I mean? So I mean, not that anybody else isn't, but
I would say by the time we get to Phoenix, they're both going to have cup rides announced.
The 4 that you guys named off are separated by 3 playoff points. All 4 of them.
wow.
I think Allgaier is going to be my sentimental pick because how many times has he been there? Almost had it. It'd be
This is
so
probably the most
cool.
consistent he's been in his career.
Right, and he's not looking for a cup ride per se. I don't think he's just kind of there, and that'd be kind of cool for him to get that win. But I mean, whoever he does is going to probably deserve it, unless some of these wild cards get in there and spice it up.
I'd like to see either Dinger or Allgaier get it because, I mean, I think it pretty much goes without saying that Gibbs and Gregson
Are gone.
aren't running Xfinity next year. So, at least it'll keep the championship in Xfinity. Or at full time, they're not going to be running it next year.
Can you imagine AJ Allmendinger if he wins the freaking championship? He's gonna
That's kind of
burn it
who
down.
That's somebody I'm really pulling for because he's a guy that came in as really just kind of a road course guy, really developed into a good oval racer. I mean, he's really done a good job. He's in that. Would love to see Colleague win a
That
a
party would be
championship.
off the
Yeah,
rails.
those guys know how to party.
Yeah.
And just kind of some affirmation for AJ Allmendinger. You know what I mean? He's not, his strong points are the road courses, but he's really a guy, kind of like somebody like Juan Pablo, who really developed into a good oval racer. You know what I mean? Coming
think-
from a road course background.
It'd be cool too for him and Colleague as a guy that kind of helped build that program. Like you said, he came in as a road course guy for Colleague, like he's doing on the Cup side now. For him to win it straight out, that'd be big. I think for him.
And he's
Colleague.
top 10 every week, no matter where they go. That shows the strength of the car, but also how good AJ's been doing. And honestly, I think the schedule really sets up well for, the way the playoffs go at the end of the season, for some chaos, for maybe a Gregson and Gibbs to get tied up at a Martinsville, let AJ get in there, or even like or at Phoenix in the championship 4. You know what I mean? I could also. It would have to take something, I think, for AJ to beat those 2, but he'll be right there. The number one thing is to create you have to be there if the opportunity arises. You know what I mean? I think he'll be there. I like him. I like his chances to being there a little bit more than Allgaier's.
If I'm them and I'm running third at Phoenix and those 2 guys are in front of me, I am happy because there's no
Yep.
at the Pocono, there's no way that one ends clean.
That's gonna be everybody's strategy. Is just run third behind Gregson and Gibbs, and wait till it happens, and then just drive around them.
See, Jeremy in the chat pointed out exactly what I was touching on. Allgaier was
Mhm.
really good at Phoenix, kind of like Harvick was years ago. Like it's kind of his spot if his crew doesn't jack him up. So I mean that's the wild card there.
Shout
be
out
the-
Jeremy Zarfos. Thank you for commenting and giving us your input there. Yeah, Allgaier, he's strong at Phoenix. I just think Gregson has the stronger car right now.
Right now.
That should
Sure.
right now, yeah. We'll see where that goes. Quick thoughts on potentially Xfinity going to IRP.
I think they should. I think it'd be a great race. And you're gonna hate this next response, but it also leads to getting Cup back on the oval at Indy. And I'm also one that doesn't want Xfinity on the oval at Indy because I think that should be held to the highest tiers.
Yep, I agree.
So put Cup back on the oval, put Xfinity again, they be the marquee event across town that Saturday night. I think that'd be cool. We have a marquee event over there for the trucks. Xfinity leading into the big race. You still could even do. I don't know how easy it is for them to switch from road course to oval to do IndyCar there still. That would be just a massive weekend for Indy. If you could have IndyCar on the road course, say Saturday during the day, and then
oval
Cup
too.
I don't know how hard it is for them. I know like Daytona or whatever, it takes forever for them to flip it around, but I don't know if Indy's that same way.
I think you would have to do the oval last, but I mean they had IndyCar there on Saturday.
That's what I'm talking. It's like you would do the way if I had a perfect scheduling weekend, you had the same weekend. You have trucks, Xfinity, IRP, trucks race Friday night like they did, Xfinity races Saturday night. You have IndyCar do their race Saturday afternoon on the road course, flip it around for Cup practice and qualifying Saturday afternoon. After the Indy, I don't know how you would do it.
I think you would have to do Cup. I think you would have to switch it over to oval Sunday morning. There are some things that you got to get off the track. I think they can do it though. I would like to personally see a doubleheader. Like I would like to see, 200 miles on, or like 100 miles on 150 miles on the road course, or 100 miles on the road course, and then like a 200-mile race on the oval. I think that would be pretty cool.
Cup?
Yeah.
No one.
I think doing both in the weekend.
No. We need the Brickyard 400 back for this Crown Jewel event because it matters to the drivers and me. And I'm from Indiana.
I don't think it matters that. I don't think it matters that much to the new wave of drivers. I really don't think it matters.
Chase Briscoe said himself, it's not the same when he won it in the road course versus the oval.
Sure,
it's a whole different feel.
I think it's too good of a road course to not run at.
I'm not saying don't run it at all. I'm saying is bring the Brickyard 400 back.
Sure.
And however you have to do that, I think that the perfect weekend would be, for my side, Xfinity to IRP, Cup on the oval, just for the mystique of it and the history and the legendariness of the facility itself.
I know Penske has opened up the idea of alternating years, which I'd be fine with. I think that makes that race even bigger then. Yep. If you only have a Brickyard 400 every other year, that'll make it even bigger.
I like that idea. That's my favorite idea. I
don't have an argument against it.
But I agree. I mean, 100%. Xfinity should be an IRP.
Yeah, I think
100%.
So.
I think it'd just be a great race.
I just think... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. That was my thought. I think it was a great race.
The only thing is with the Xfinity, and like it goes back to what the trucks are, they got to find their lane here. Like, if they've kind of really developed it to be like a come-up system.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you really want them to be ready for Cup, you got to really run Xfinity at a lot of the same tracks.
But not all of the same tracks. There should be certain...
No, but it's probably most of them, like they do now. Trucks, I think you could do a little more half and half. I think they use Xfinity as a little bit of a... And trucks, to that extent, as a testing ground. They go to some of these other tracks that maybe Cup will eventually go to. They did it with Road America, right? They ran at Road America first before they went there.
But that's what I was going to say would be perfect for, like, you love Rockingham.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the trucks went there 10 years ago now, and it didn't go well. But that was 10 years ago. And the way you see, like, North Wilkesboro coming back, you want these places to come back, you got to start with the trucks or things like that.
Yeah.
Even
Trucks,
if it's not both IRP, maybe Xfinity goes to Rockingham or something like that to just spice it up and get that attention in there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like, I don't know how far Rockingham is from Charlotte, but I feel like
pretty
it's kind of
close.
far. But it's put them down there on, like, Roval weekend or 600 weekend or something crazy like that to kind of really bring the whole energy to the area.
I agree. I think those got to be one-offs, though. You can only do that in Xfinity, I think, maybe 2-3 times a year.
Right. I'm not saying all of them.
Yeah.
Just like that, just boom, and that helps the whole town. Like, look at Indy and how the energy around Indianapolis all weekend, just because you had racing everywhere. And even tonight, the racing back at IRP with what?
Yeah.
Pavement sprinklers.
I was gonna comment on that because, and maybe it's just because they have a 200,000 seat capacity.
It definitely.
And it was a road course, but I did not feel any energy from the crowd all weekend at Indy.
No.
None. Not on TV. Felt zero energy.
If you would have watched, except for the IRP race, because they were going nuts at IRP. But yeah, at the Indy, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I mean,
and like I said, it's a big track. You know, a lot of the fans are scattered about, but
I guess my question.
Other road courses like Watkins Glen, you feel a lot of energy. You know what I mean? So
Watkins Glen are all packed right in that. For a lot, like, that grandstand is packed. It's smaller right there, so there's a lot of people.
Not even just there. Even in the infield, you feel it. I don't know, just the way, and maybe it's just the way TV brings it off. But
and that's what I was gonna say. If Josh would have to be the one, because like Pocono, we felt the energy. You could hear it over the cars. I don't know. Did that come across on TV last weekend?
Yeah.
That place was packed. But I mean, that's been the problem with Indy anyway. They have so many seats, it just looks barren and spread out, and it's kind of hard to create energy, even on the oval.
Which was the big problem. I mean, a lot of people that were talking about going back to the oval, I was looking on Twitter, and they're like, they're showing these pictures of huge pile-up wrecks over stupid shit, empty grandstands, boring ass racing. It's the same complaints that people have about the road course. You're gonna have the same shit on the oval. So I think that's why it's best to alternate them every year. But
sure,
but
I can concede that. I'm thinking from the drivers. Like, interesting, like Denny Hamlin never won the Brickyard 400. That's the only crown jewel that he's never won, and he's, as it sits now, never will.
If it's not even a race anymore, is it really a crown jewel?
Right, but the point is, everyone talks about that when it was a crown jewel, and it's one of the races that he's wanted to win, but he'll never get a chance to. And that's kind of unfortunate. You can't get the 4 crown thing like Gordon and Johnson and Earnhardt. Like,
I don't think it's as big of a deal as. I just don't. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I mean, he probably got to have a championship, but he's not going to get that either.
Yeah. Well, let's go into Cup then. The Indy Road Course. I thought the racing was pretty decent. It got a little dirty at the end.
The end? What about the beginning?
The beginning was, well, I'll give them a little bit of the benefit of that. The beginning was, the track was like 20 degrees warmer than it was the day before. Didn't have a lot of practice on it. These guys were all over the place. And honestly, I mean, that helps comers and goers. There's a little bit of chaos, but you're going to have that on road courses. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I thought it was a decent race. Tyler Reddick on the pole, basically dominated most of the day. Ends up winning. He earned it. He definitely earned it. Just went out there and, you know, really had to hold off a lot of late race restarts, a lot of late race chaos. The big thing was, well, let's go through a couple of these wrecks here. In the beginning, so you had Hamlin go off track. You had Chastain get into a bunch of people. Shocker.
I think he pretty sure, yeah, turn 1, lap 1. Pretty sure it was him that turned to 31.
Yeah.
Drove it in there, and just these guys going to turn 1. I get track position matters, and this is going to lead into a lot of the crash you're ready to bring up. How do you think on lap 1, turn 1, 6 wide, 5 wide, 4 wide is the answer? Because
it doesn't make any sense.
That's dumb
at all.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't know. I don't like it. Like, these guys are smarter than this. You don't see that at Watkins Glen.
And
not yet.
Nah, I was gonna say you see that Watkins Glen. You see
them go there, but I don't know. Maybe the banking matters more, so they don't.
It's not as wide as Watkins Glen, so maybe you don't see 6 wide, but you see them go 3, 4 wide in the turn 1 on restarts the time. Yeah.
Not the whole field though.
I think they said. I mean, at one of the restarts at the end, they said it right that these drivers just don't have any respect for each other at all.
No, and they're trying. I think some of the older drivers are trying to lean on other drivers, like you could back in the day. You could lean on them, rub a little bit, lean on them, get through the corner, race hard. But some of these younger drivers are just leaning on them to a whole new level. They're just taking him out.
They're taking that get the hell out of the road.
The worst offender of the day, by far, Joey Logano.
Oh, okay, I was worried who you were gonna say, but that on the inside,
Joey
when
Logano, he hit six wide in the inside. He wasn't gonna ever make that corner. He was like a whole lane underneath where the curb was, and had to turn back in and caused a major shitstorm. And I think after that, it was after that one was when all the other restarts got nuts. And I think because it was hot, people were pissed. It was a long race. They were having a hard enough time getting the cars to it just all it took. It was just that was the first domino to fall, and then the rest of the race just turned into beating and banging all over the place.
100% agree. I was worried who you were going to say there because you could have went with it, but
no, you could have went with a lot of people.
I know who he wanted to go with, but he's saving him. He's taking him to the cross next.
Who, Chastain?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just doing Ross things now at this point. Like I said, he did it in the Xfinity race. Apparently, I didn't see it, so I'll hold judgment. But this is what you expect from Ross at this point, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is with him. So at the end of the race, the last restart, he just clears.
He pulls
now,
if he pulled this one off, that'd have been bad.
A lot of people were asking, like, he won't get penalized. That's legal. No, it was never legal. They completely said if you go off the track in any of these 5 corners, you got to pull off. I think it was like in the turn 12 motorcycle lane or some shit. You got to do a stop and go there and get cleared out into the track. He never stopped. He got penalized. He ended up finishing like 28th. I don't know what he was thinking. He had to do.
Well, I was just saying.
Because you've seen him on the outside 6 wide. He goes, they're all going to wreck here. So I'm going to go straight
smart.
Really fast as hell and try to blend in.
Which is smart, but
but at least make it look like you're wrecking. Like, don't just like
Bubba did.
Don't just drive off.
Regardless, even if you go through there, you have to do your stop and go. Everybody else that did it had to do a stop and go. It's just not right there. You have to do the stop and go. You have to do it in like turn 12. So he just never did the stop and go because he thought he was fighting for a win. And he was going to get away with it, and that's just stupid. Like, how do you not know? The rules are pretty clear.
Slide out there Dukes of Hazzard style and start fighting Tyler Reddick sideways around corners.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Chastain, if you want to wreck
if he would have did what Briscoe did to Hamlin last year, Ross would be done. No driver he would be getting wrecked every week from here on out. There's no way. There's no way.
As soon as S turns like straight sliding.
So I saw a clip today. NBC didn't catch it, but the last restart at the Xfinity race, somebody did that. Somebody did the exact same thing, but they were so far back that
didn't matter.
NBC never even caught it. But yeah, a car did the exact same thing at the end of the Xfinity race that Chastain did.
Hamlin did the same exact thing early in the race, but he did a stop and go.
I didn't see him do a stop and go. I didn't think that was a turn 1 rule. I think you just can't advance your position with the problem.
He just Chastain advanced like 12.
I wish I had the video of what they had in the drivers' meeting. There was 5 corners. If you missed any of them, there was 1 spot in the track where you had to do a stop and go. It wasn't do a stop and go where you missed a corner or anything like that. It was turn 12, I think it was. You had to do a stop and go there. You didn't, you got penalized. And he ended up getting a 30-second penalty or whatever, and then I finished 32nd. He would have been better off doing a stop and go. He probably still would have, the way it was with how many cars were wrecking at the end, he probably would have still finished top 15. Instead, he lost another 20 positions or 10, 15 positions.
At that point, he's already got 2 wins. He comes out, he's going for the balls to the wall. He's on TV. We don't look like a madman. Probably made Reddick damn near shit himself. He's like, who is this guy out here? And almost cost him the win because Cindric was catching back up then. Can you imagine, like you said, if he would have wrecked Reddick, holy hell.
Yeah, that would have been bad. And then we would really be talking about how much of an idiot Ross Chastain is. That would be all the Ross defenders, you would have no leg to stand on.
That would be absolutely D-gen level right there.
Here's the only thing I'm going to say to that, because probably the next thing we're going to talk about is Kyle Larson. Like, how many races this year has Kyle Larson's car been a weapon just because he completely overdrove it?
I don't know.
It wasn't brakes, according to Hendrick.
Yeah, apparently there was no failure. So
that sounds Like,
They
he put his own
showed-
doing that they
teammate
don't want
in
to
the
talk
wall.
about.
They showed his telemetry on NBC. He was on the brake. If that shit was not slowing down, so something had to definitely be
Well,
wrong there. And he
brakes
did go.
brakes only work if your tires are on the ground.
Well, he was going into the corner. He was on the brake before he ever was sliding. So I don't know what happened there. I really don't. I saw something where I guess he got in the grass earlier in the race to avoid an accident or something like that. He got hit or
drilled
something.
by Almirola, hit him right in the door.
And they're thinking maybe that something got in there and clogged up those fans, the brake fans, or something like that. But Hendrick, it's very weird.
They're doing something that they don't want NASCAR to know about.
Something because
they literally said take it right to the hauler. Kyle avoided it.
Avoided all interviews, and then
just
for
like,
Hendrick to
nothing
say, well, Bob Pockris reported it, but Hendrick didn't really come right out and say it. But
there's no
failure. There's no failure, and it's like, why would you even?
You're just gonna throw.
Why wouldn't you at least cover your driver a little bit?
Because they don't want NASCAR looking underneath that car. If there's a failure, NASCAR's going to be like, "Hey, we need, we need to make sure this isn't, a safety thing."
These weren't vendor brakes; these were Hendrick
Right,
brakes.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they
I don't know. It's
just...
just
anyway. That's not the way I would have PR'd that if I was them.
Yeah,
now,
they botched
They
that
better
one.
take anything sus. Better be not on that car when they unload at Michigan.
Because I don't think it was Kyle Larson's decision not to talk to the media. He
They
was
said
definitely getting told not to talk to the media.
NBC said he declined because he wanted to run back and talk to his crew.
Yeah,
Find out what happened.
that's his PR agent saying, "Hey,
Right.
don't say anything about this. Just avoid the media. Say you need to go back and talk to the crew."
Really stupid. They did you a solid when you looked stupid last time, so you can do them a solid whenever they look really stupid.
But Larson, I don't think he's. I mean, he's gotten to a couple of wrecks this year. He's definitely not. He's definitely still getting a grasp on this car, but.
He's put himself in precarious situations.
The whole Hendrick side, really, Chase Elliott's been the only one, especially lately, to. But even then, I mean,
Funny how the narrative flopped. Beginning of the year was what? Bowman was one, Byron won, Larson
all four of them won right in a row, basically.
Chase Elliott was like missing during those, like wasn't around.
Yep.
And then now it's just Chase Elliott and everyone else just
Chase Elliott's been the best driver for the past 2 months, basically. He had a
Byron and Bowman. I mean, I don't even know if they have a top 10 in the last couple weeks.
I mean,
Byron was there. He got wrecked with Chase Elliott in that other ordeal when the one restart.
Those guys are there in the conversation that if we do get 3 more winners and somebody has to get bumped out, you're looking at Byron and Bowman possibly because of how it's poorly.
Byron only has 1 win?
Byron and Bowman almost, and Larson, they all only have 1 win. I'm pretty sure.
I know Bowman and Larson, yes. Byron won Atlanta. I thought he won another one, but I could be wrong.
Maybe
Larson,
Byron did.
No,
Larson
he didn't.
has 1.
You're right. The first repeat winner was like what, Chastain, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. So wins, the only repeat. Oh, William Byron does have 2. So Chase Elliott has 4 wins. Ross Chastain, Logano, Byron, Reddick, and Hamlin have 2, and then everybody else that are in the playoffs right now has 1. Interessante. So, yeah. I mean, Larson's probably okay, but Bowman is pretty much the last guy. He's the last guy with points now. Like, pretty close.
Kurt Busch?
He's right. Yeah, Kurt Busch, I guess, is lower now.
Kurt Busch is so basically 3 guys have to
I
win.
hate how they do their standings on the website because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you have to go click on points.
But points don't really tell the whole story because you have guys up there that didn't win.
Right, but you're talking about guys that are going to be knocked off on points. I don't know. That's why you should have a straight up point system.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Bowman's just ahead of Suarez, Cindric, Briscoe, and Kurt Busch. So
But I mean, know. Yeah, I think it was a good weekend for a lot of guys, but a bad weekend for a lot of guys that really needed to do well here. There was a lot of guys that really, really needed to do well here and did not do well. You know, you're looking at like Blaney's, Harvick's.
Yeah, Blaney was pissed.
Suarez.
He went and turned Suarez after the checkered flag.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it
But,
sucks
I mean,
because he was running well up there. He was the guy that he was trying to do the long run on the tires and everything, and he stayed up in the top 5 like all day and just got it completely taken away.
Well, he's the one that also he turned Elliott on one restart when he was in the middle. I think he turned Chase Elliott the restart before he got turned.
But at that point, where they're 3-4 wide, 4 deep,
Right.
and everybody's just leaning on each other, who's turning who?
Yeah.
You know. The only one I could say that was the most egregious was definitely Joey Logano. He's
Oh
the
my
one
God,
that started
that
the
was-
domino, and that was it. Then nobody was given any fucking inches
No, he was that one.
the rest of the night race.
He was never making that turn. He had no intentions of ever making that turn. That was the ARCA break of the year right there.
You know, that's in the Cup Series too, which is sad, very sad. Well, any other takeaways from the Cup Series? We talked a little bit about the playoffs here. I mean, obviously, there's still 2 spots open, 4 more races left to go. Blaney and Truex are still the last 2 underneath the cutoff. Kevin Harvick is the odd man out right now, who was having another good run and got wrecked. I know he was pretty pissed.
Michigan, I think this is his week. I think it's Kevin Harvick's week.
I think it's got to be his week, or he's not going to have a good time. To be honest, because I mean, Richmond, Watkins Glen, Daytona is going to be. It's tough. It's tough to get a win. So, it's got to be Michigan. I really think that's his last chance. And then it put the pressure on Blaney and Truex, which I could see any one of those 3 winning in Michigan this week. To be honest. I'm excited. I like Michigan. I think it's one of my favorite tracks on the schedule. I think it's a pretty good race usually. So, and with the way the playoffs are, it should make it spicy. So, yeah. Let's get into the Jeremy Zarfos photo of the week. This is it right here. You got Corey Haas. So you can see the flames at the bottom there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the flames on that. That's awesome.
Pretty awesome picture at Lincoln Speedway this past weekend, where Freddie Raymer took the win. Yeah, awesome photo by Jeremy. Always bringing the heat. We're gonna get into talking some dirt here, and I want to start with the World of Outlaws. They're at Weed Sport this past weekend, 2 nights, Saturday, Sunday. And Saturday just got off the rails a little bit. Sheldon Haudenschild, it's about 10 to go or so in the 40 lap feature. I think it was 40 laps. He was parked in the infield of the track, and nobody knows how he really got there, I guess. Nobody really knows.
It's a mystery. He just appeared.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery. To me, it looks like he turned it in, or if he did get spun, whatever, and he pulled it into the infield. So the Outlaw officials didn't throw a yellow. So he's parked in the infield, not way off the track where he couldn't get hit, like pretty far off the track where nothing was going to happen to him, but some freak accident happened, yeah, he might get hit. But you could say that about anywhere in the infield, to be honest. He's getting out. He got out of the car and was yelling at the track crew, and then is walking along the front stretch, all during green flag here. David Gravel has like an 8.5 second lead. He walks out. He takes his helmet off. He's walking down the front stretch like this right off a hot track, and throws his helmet onto the track to bring out a yellow because he didn't get a yellow. And it was a pretty wild sight. And for somebody like Sheldon, like, yeah, his dad was the wild child and all this shit, but Sheldon's been so mild-mannered his entire career. Very shocking to see this. But all the other stuff that happened after it is just... There's so many conspiracy theories that the Outlaws take care of everybody else except for Sheldon Haudenschild, who, by the way, is the poster boy for the main series sponsor, NOS, sponsored by the same sponsor. The amount of time, before I get into any of that, you don't throw your helmet out onto a live track. That is so much more dangerous than not getting a yellow and sitting in the infield. Sorry about your luck, bud. When the camera was on him that race, he was bouncing hard off the walls and all over the place. I wouldn't doubt if he broke something, and he was kind of a weapon out there, to be honest. He dropped back about 5-6 spots at least, and he was struggling. So I'm sure that was probably attributed to his frustrations. But just, and then you had his crew member flipping him off. They're like grabbing the crew members and then telling them not to do anything. And, very frustrated, I could understand, but that it went to a whole new level. And I don't know. I'm just, I'm very disappointed in him, to be honest, because that was probably one of the most dangerous things you could do, other than just walk straight out onto the track, which he's pretty damn close to doing, to be honest. I don't care how frustrated you are.
I saw the clip of it, and my question is, it wasn't anything that happened in like 10 or 15 seconds. So I mean, part of that is on the track. Like, this went on way. I mean, they probably got 3 or 4 laps in while this whole thing was going on.
It was almost 7 laps from the time he pulled into the infield. He had to unbuckle and get out of his car, which you could kind of do quick in a sprint car, but it was interesting. I don't know.
Lots of questions. Like,
yeah, I have a lot of questions, but from what I see, Sheldon's a dipshit. Like, that's just something you just don't do. I don't care how mad you are. You don't throw your helmet out onto a live track, because what if that helmet goes and hits a car? You are that's.
You don't know where it's gonna go. Hell, it can even fly back and hit you in the head.
I'll give him credit. He only threw it barely onto the track, but I mean, once you let that go, you have no control of it anymore, and who knows what the fuck happens.
It looked like he thought he was gonna throw it a lot farther though, because I think
that
helmet was heavier than what he thought it was, because he threw it, and I was like, man, he's throwing that at a car, and then I saw where it landed, and I was like, he barely made it on the track.
These cars are going full speed down the front straightaway. That's like one of the fastest parts of the track, and for him to just throw his helmet out like that, just to get the officials' attention, just is petty to me. I don't know. It's just way too dangerous,
Right, I would need. And there's still been no statements, right? Nothing from him.
Nothing. No.
Marshall.
I saw, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, he has to get suspended.
So there's gonna be a fine, suspension, something has to be.
The Outlaws haven't even acknowledged it.
Nope.
They raced the next night.
They're just going to continue the clown show to continue until somebody gets severely hurt or even worse, killed.
So, who was leading?
David Gravel.
Did he end up winning?
Luckily, but I mean, he had an 8.5 second lead.
Yeah.
3 laps to go, the caution comes out. He has to hold off Donnie Schatz on a restart, which he had a great start. He didn't really have to worry too much from our eyes, but I mean, that's still something. That's still something that doesn't jive, man. Like if Gravel would have lost the race, I'm going back and I'm kicking that entire team's ass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which apparently they were almost backstory, since you brought it in. This goes a couple weeks ago, where that's the team that was in a fight with the rule official. The rule official who went in and pushed one of the guys out of the area.
Donnie Schatz's crew member was in
that
the
car
fight.
was there. And
it was over that car.
And this happens. You have a crew member going ballistic in there also, right?
Yep.
And then I want to know how his car got there. Dirt Vision has it.
They don't, though, because nobody showed it.
Just because they didn't show it doesn't mean
I don't think they have it. To me, it looks like and you know how it can be when you're watching a race and there's 24 cars out there, and it's that was a long green flag run. That was probably 25 laps or something like that. He could have pulled off real quick, and it could have looked like he just pulled into the infield, and he's parking it. You know what I mean? That's what it could have looked like if you just catch the tail end of it. If you don't see what happened, regardless, he's off the track, not safe. You know, in what the Outlaws deemed to be in a safe spot to not bring out a yellow. Why would you want to affect the race for everybody else for a guy who is probably done for tonight? And even if he does get back out there, which is probably what he was upset about, he could probably still got back out there. You already lost 20 spots, dude. Just, like, whatever. Like, I don't want to hear you bitching and moaning. Jeremy over here saying, Sheldon didn't do a single thing correctly, then the officials made it worse by allowing him to walk his ass across the grass with nothing in between him and the cars. I agree with that last statement, but I kind of like the Outlaw officials standing pat because they know he was throwing a little baby bitch fit. And they're like, no, we're not going to affect the race because you want to do this, but it was unsafe. I think at that point,
You could tell
until he threw the helmet out and they were kind of forced to do it, they were like, he's throwing a little baby bitch fit. We're not going to play into this. Let him do what he wants, even if it's unsafe, which I kind of give him some credit to doing, but yeah, it's unsafe. They probably should have not let him do it.
It was unsafe when they didn't chase him out there. No official went out with it. They're like, you know what? Nope, we're not going past this line. You're an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, they probably should have done something, but I don't know.
We'll see next week. We'll see JZP out there just walking through the grass with his cameras.
Jeremy can't even stand at the pit gate to take pictures. You're gonna let Sheldon walk across the freaking track? Come on, man.
And so no statements, and then they go on and race Sunday night.
Nothing's gonna happen. He's gonna get absolutely nothing. They probably had a talk.
Sheldon race Sunday.
Sheldon raced.
Donnie Schatz won. Good for him.
Donnie Schatz did win. Good for him. Brock had a great run. Shout out to Brock Zierfoss. Almost had a podium. Started second, finished fourth. David Gravel dominated that first night, but the Sheldon thing, man, it's I'm still fired up about it just because it was just so stupid, and you expect so much more from a guy that's supposed to represent your series, not just like represent the brand of your series, but he's kind of like been, and I've been saying it for a while, and people disagree with me. He's been their golden boy. I mean, he's their poster child of the series, man. Like, he's the guy that they show the most, and yeah, it helps that he has the series sponsors backing him, but he, you know.
Well, he used to. Who knows if he does now?
Well, Ricky Stenhouse, who's the owner of that car, as soon as that happened, made the comment on Twitter, when does High Limit start, which is Kyle Larson's and Brad Sweet's new series that they're starting up. It's a midweek, high-money series, which the Outlaws look as competition because they're not allowing any Outlaw driver, including one of the co-owners and their defending series champion. None of them are allowed to say anything about it, like on social media or anything. They're not allowed to talk about it. So they obviously view it as competition.
That's
now
the one
you're just
that's the one Kyle Busch was talking about running in, right? Like
Kyle Busch.
Yeah, there was a rumor that he's going to run that. I saw it last week. It was in Larson's late night or something. Larson's late models or.
It's a sprint car thing. So, okay. But Kyle Busch did say about thinking about taking a year off and doing something like what Kyle Larson did and kind of doing something like that, which that would be cool to see.
Not doing.
No way. Anyway, we're not talking about that right now. But the High Limit series is supposed to. It starts in a couple of weeks actually, and then next year it'll be. I'm pretty sure they're partnered with Flow. It's owned by Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet, and they're going to be racing for big money midweek, kind of like you have Castro
Race Night in America.
Yeah, on Flow Racing, which is the late model version of it. They'll run for $50,000 on a Wednesday night out in Bumblefuck wherever. You know, and that's what Kyle Larson's trying to bring to the sprint car world because, you know, pay the man his money. You know, pay these guys their money. You know, the sprint cars, they don't get paid anywhere near what the late models get paid. And so it's cool to see. I'm a big fan of it. I'm interested to see how it works. But the Outlaws are telling their drivers not to talk about it. And, you know, if you don't have the Outlaws there, then you have basically just like that's incentive for guys if you're not allowed to run it as a full-time outlaw, that gives you incentive to not run with the outlaws full time. You know what I mean? So the Outlaws are in a weird place right now. They either need to embrace it or completely try to squash it, and I think they're going the latter. I think they're going to try to completely squash it, and I just don't think it's going to work for them. I think it's
It
going to
never
backfire.
works out. Yeah, it never works out. I mean, I don't know if anybody follows it, but PGA and the LIV Tour is the exact same thing that's happening right there.
Exactly.
And it sounds like World of Outlaws handling it the same exact way PGA, and it is completely blown up in their face.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll still get, 90% of the outlaw races. You'll still have most of these drivers there, but I could see a couple of these drivers dropping off the platinum membership, not running for the points title, so they have the ability to go run for this other money. Because the All-Stars are bumping up their pay. They have some pretty decent paying races, including the Tuscarora 50. You got the Race Rodin race, which just paid $26,000, which we're going to get to in a minute. Then you have this high limit series coming in. If they're paying $50,000 every night for a dozen nights a year, I'm just guessing. We don't really know yet, but if I had to guess, it's probably going to be something like that. Shit, I'll run Outlaws as much as I can, but then go run these, and I'll be a true outlaw, kind of like what Brett Marks is doing, Gio Scelzi, Rico Abreu, to an extent even Brian Brown. Those guys, they'll go travel to where the money is. So that's a problem the Outlaws have, because if you're defending champion, and he might be 3-time champion the way it's going, unless gravel keeps coming, if he's a co-owner of this and he says, nah, I won 3 titles, Casey Kane supports me, we're going to go do this series, I'll run with you guys. You guys do 96 races? Well, there's 12 races for my series, so I'll run with you guys like 80 times a year. That's a problem for the Outlaws, potentially. That's my rant. Sorry I ranted. I think it's a lot of interesting stuff going on there, and the Sheldon thing ties all into it, because the Outlaws have a problem. They got a problem. They got to fix it. And I think it's even worse that they didn't acknowledge the problem, other than Johnny Gibson saying Sheldon Hansfield threw his helmet on to the track, and that was the cause for the caution. Other than that, not one statement, and it's such a problem.
Again, like Jeremy said in the comments, like, they didn't do anything, allow him to walk across the grass. If something would have happened, it would have been World of Outlaws. I mean, everybody would have been all over them.
And I think that's what's really pissing me off so much about it, is that there's no accountability for Sheldon with all these people. Sheldon Hanshield's mom was on Twitter and was like, if something would have happened to my son, it would have been the Outlaws that were liable, because they didn't throw a caution. And, she was talking about how they play favorites, about how they let all these other guys rebuild their cars under yellow flag and this and that. I'm like, I've seen Sheldon get all the time in the world this year, and even in past years, to go change a tire, have 50 people helping rebuild his car. Don't tell me about there's a bias against Sheldon, when if anything, there's a bias towards Sheldon. But I don't think there's a bias at all. I think there's a bias just towards outlaw drivers, which is kind of cool if you're an outlaw driver, because you want to know that your series that you're running is backing you. But to go out there and just start these conspiracy theories like that against the Outlaws is just totally not fair, in my opinion. Rant number 2 over.
Sheldon could totally win me over if he just put a statement on Twitter like, hey, I was just looking for the concession stand.
Make some type of ownership over it. Like, say, what I did was stupid. It was heat of the moment, and I apologize. Nothing, though. Nothing from anybody. They don't even want to acknowledge that it happened, and that makes it even worse, because we all know it happened. Chris, you're quiet over there. Do you have any opinion on this?
Oh, you covered it. You covered it, bud. I don't think you should throw things on the racetrack. That's my opinion.
I mean,
if you do, at least get it on the racetrack.
At least hit the car that you're mad at.
I guess he was trying to throw it to the tower. That wasn't going to work.
He was he was literally trying to bring out a caution. He's like, fine, fuck you. You're not going to bring out a caution for me? Here's your caution with 3 to go.
He 100% did the full gladiator, like, are you not entertained?
Can you imagine if, National Open, Dietrich does that? he's getting banned from every outlaw race in the
Absolutely,
country.
absolutely. If it's anybody else, and a lot of people are saying, well, if that was anybody else that spun into the infield, they're getting a caution. Bullshit.
Yeah, if it didn't.
I honestly think the Outlaws saw what I saw, and they saw a weapon out on the track who probably was broken and pulled it into the infield. That's what I saw. But
I don't know. Even Johnny hasn't said anything. Ford Racing Group's getting weird.
yeah, it's something's going on there, I think, and
Ever since
they're really
changed that,
they're
ever since
screwing
they
the
did the
pooch.
ever since they did the 4 wide song, it's all gone downhill, boys.
100%. They sold out so much. It's ridiculous. I mean, they've always sold out, but yeah, they're really starting to ruin the series, to be honest. And I'm not here for it. And if they needed to take a stand. I mean, they banned Aaron Reitzel. They gave Aaron Reitzel a death penalty for using. Granted, he broke the rules, but I mean, it's kind of like the Sean Watson thing. You give Aaron Reitzel like a death penalty last year for using a old chassis, but Sheldon Hansfield always gets himself or somebody else killed and nothing, not even a word about it. It's just kind of wild. And they also, they had their crew member almost kill somebody when they were working on Sheldon's car a couple weeks ago, and nothing about that either. So, the official thing where he tackled the crew member, I could see them dealing with that internally because he's not a public figure necessarily, and he's their employee. So I could see them dealing with that internally. I'm fine with that. The Sheldon thing, they got to do something about, and I'm a little upset that they haven't done anything as of yet.
Well, I mean, there
Clearly.
could be some relation to, if it's, like you said, the main sponsor, he's the sponsor, there's plenty of marketing meetings probably still going on. Like, how are we going to handle this? How's the World of Outlaws going to handle this?
Yep.
So,
and when your NASCAR driver owners is going out on Twitter saying, hey, when does this other series start? That's not a good look. You got to get in front of that. You got to try to control that narrative. And they're not even making an effort.
Yeah, they straight up ignored it. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, just
Nothing. They
continue on.
Yep, they're just going to continue on and be like, all right. I do think if anything else happens from here on out, they got to do something. Because the only reason I could see them not saying anything is kind of like, all right, our official. Yes, they feature his car every fucking night.
Featuring it when they're pushing it out for the feature.
They did it both nights. They featured his car. They do it all the time.
They don't like him. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's the world against Sheldon Hansfield. It was just so wild seeing some of those things. It's like, if that was anybody else but Sheldon, what are you talking about? Sheldon gets the most preferential treatment in that series. It's wild. It's wild. Because Sheldon's like Sheldon is the Chase Elliott of that series. So you can't tell Chase Elliott fans anything. That might be negative. So that's how Sheldon Hansfield fans are, and same way. And I get it. Hey, blind loyalty, but fuck, man, I don't know. Just and even most Sheldon Hansfield fans would agree, like, hey, I don't condone what he did with throwing the helmet and all that. But the fact that the Outlaw officials, I don't care. I don't care what you think about the Outlaw officials. What Sheldon did was 10 times worse than what the Outlaw officials may or may not have done. End of story. That's my opinion. Rant 3.
I agree with Jimmy.
Same. Nailed it.
It was very, very frustrating as a dirt fan, and also we know I don't want to bring it up, but we know what happened with Tony Stewart, and Kevin Ward, and we've lost some others to Rex and stuff like that. It's a very, very dangerous sport, especially on a hot track. So he should know better, man. Like, it's frustrating to see. That's just dumb. You got to make a statement there.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I don't know how, I feel like, like a hot track or a live track it should be the same as like a gun range or something. Like, there's a zero tolerance policy. Like,
yes,
it should. There should be no question.
And the thing is,
like,
it is like that.
It
You're
is.
supposed to stay in your car until you're got the emergency vehicles there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah,
Even like the photographers, they could only go so far. And you could ask Jeremy. Like there's certain spots that you can shoot in. Certain, they've got to make sure that they're safe and everything. It used to not be like that maybe 10 years ago. You used to be able to stand right next to the track, but they don't allow that anymore. They've gotten better and better. A lot of these tracks gotten better and better with making it safer during green flag action. And I don't know. Just to let Sheldon do that is just absolutely absurd. Quick talk about the Outlaws or the All-Stars. The Race Routine Foundation race was at I-70. First night got rained out. The second night paid $26,000. And our very own PA posse, Anthony Macri, goes and takes it down. His first win outside of PA. Good for him. I was really happy for him. He had hell of a battle at Rico through lap traffic. Had to really hold off some strong cars. Very impressive, to be honest. And track he was never at before. And something about that track, the PA guys run well there, because I remember Brock really running really well there when the Outlaws were there. That's where he got one of his concussions, but he ran really well there. He was like top 3 every night there. And, maybe just because it's a half mile. But
did they ever say, that's one we were watching, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Did they ever say what happened to Abreu? Because he just pulled off.
Broke. Yeah, I don't know. Broke.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened to him.
It looked like he was the only one that had anything for Macri.
Right, and once Macri once Rico got past him there a few to go, and Macri kind of saw what he was doing, he ran him back down and blew his doors off and was gone. And then the caution came out.
Yeah, Macri had to protect. I think it was against Gio Scelzi. One of the last restarts, he had to protect there, and he really got on it. I was happy for him, And then they ran Knoxville the next night, and
Rico wins.
Rico got the win. Rico's looking really strong going into a really important couple weeks here. Knoxville's going to be the place to be the next 2 weeks, pretty much. Yeah. Here in PA, Dream Races, the Twin 20s. You had Dylan Cisney make a last lap pass around the outside of
3.3 seconds in 5 laps.
Yeah, around Lance DeWeese, who pretty much led the entire first feature. It reminded me of when Brock Zierfoss was leading the Labor Day Classic years ago when Danny Dietrich just got around him in the last corner. It was very similar. But this time, DeWeese was behind some lap traffic, and that really helped open up the door for Cisney. And then they did an invert, and Danny Dietrich won the second feature. Pretty good race overall. Track was pretty good. And then at Lincoln, Chad Trout pretty much led the entire race, and then with about 2 to go, Freddie Raymer got around and took down the win. This week, I think it's just 2 regular shows there at Port Royal and Lincoln. And is it the Billy Kimmel at
the Grove with the
at the Grove
58 match race? Extra money on the line for those guys.
So some good racing here.
You had Brett Strickler 410 debut.
Yeah, Brett Strickler making his 410 debut. I think he was in the top 15. He made the feature. Yeah, awesome race for him. Coming up, so yeah, we have those coming up this weekend. We also have at Bloomsburg, $5 fan appreciation night. It's a USAC wingless 360s. We'll have the wing 305s. We got ARDC midgets, and we got 4-cylinders. So that should be pretty fun. $5 only to get out there.
How rowdy do you think that's gonna be?
I don't think it'll be that rowdy. It's Bloomsburg. They're just trying to bring people out. I'll be rowdy. I'll definitely be rowdy. But for $5, you can't beat that. You see a little bit of everything. And then on Saturday at Selinsgrove, friend of the show, Alex Robinson, announcer for Renegades of Dirt, will be in Selinsgrove with the tour. And they'll also have the USAC wingless 360s on deck, as well as Roadrunners. So that should be, the weather's looking good this weekend, maybe some thunderstorms. It's going to be hot, but normal PA August weather should be able to get both of those in, and hopefully good racing all around. And then the 360 Nationals start this weekend. The kind of a little bit of a preview of the Knoxville Nationals, which will be next weekend. Kyle Larson's in it. The entry list for the 360s is pretty impressive. It's a lot of who's going to be running 410s. So pretty interesting about that. And also the World of Outlaws simultaneously will be at I-55, where they'll run their Ironman 55-lap race. I think that's where Brent Marks is going to be. So a lot of good racing this week before we get into the biggest sprint car week of the year. The Capitani Classic will be Monday. It's either Sunday or Monday that they do the Capitani Classic, and then they'll do. Then they just get into Knoxville week basically. So we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. Yeah. Anything else you want to preview? You guys want to preview for Dirt Side or anything like that?
Got nothing.
Nothing. I know I ranted over that one. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It was your time to shine, bud. We're here for you. We are just your supporting cast, and you hit the nail on the head.
Thank you.
Well, you're the face of the franchise. All over socials. There you go.
I'm very passionate about it. I've been getting in arguments with people for the past 48 hours over that.
48, hell.
Well, it happened Saturday night.
So for reference, people, I wake up after a nice night of sleeping.
Which is what you're supposed to do at night.
Right, most of the time. We don't do it very often, but when we do it right. Get to work to 450 messages of nonsense fighting over Sheldon, fighting over Danny Dietrich, fighting over Freddie Raymer, fighting over Sheldon again, the Outlaw officials, Chase Elliott, 4 days straight, chaos, degen behavior, and I'm here for it. It's a lot to read. It took me a solid 20 minutes to go back to the beginning to see where it all started. It's always with Dietrich fans, always.
I picked the wrong week to unmute the
chat.
Chat. I picked the wrong week to unmute
it got a little wild. It got a little wild.
It was
but
great.
It was basically me. Apparently, I am the president. I found this out. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm the biggest fan or anything, but apparently, I'm the president of the Sheldon Hahn Shield Haters Club.
So
I found that one out.
Should be on one of the first shirts when we start producing them. President of the Sheldon Hahn Shield.
Oh, I'm 100% for that. I'll get yeah. We'll lose so many fans so quick.
I don't think we'll lose fans. Nope, they'll be there fighting you. Josh and I will be there.
There we go.
Yeah, man, you got them.
Maybe that's the way to go. Let's get into some iRacing stuff. Speaking of posse, last night we had our very own dream race at Twin 20s at Port Royal. Your boy here was quick time. I started second, was running second for a good chunk of the race. And
do you want to come clean?
Oh,
you were 32 laps down.
Okay, so 8 laps in. I mean, it felt like a long time because we kept having cautions, but I was right there and got swallowed up. hit the wall, junked my shit. Andy May took down the win number 1. Congratulations to him. And then in Twin 20 number 2, Jeremy Zarfos taking it down, getting back to victory lane in the Posse League. So good for him. We go to Lernerville tomorrow night. And I think we're off Sunday, which we might be making up an Outlaw feature, but we'll see.
I'm always off on Sundays, but I shall be at Lernerville.
I'm pretty excited about it. I think I'm still
a one-track wonder at this point, but not the track you all expect.
And then Wednesday night, we have Full Throttle. Last week, who won? I can't remember who won.
Hold on, I'm pulling it.
William Brown, right?
William Brown.
He was dominant. It was great. It was a great night.
It was a very, very good competitive night. Only 2 yellows the whole night. One was just on the actual first cautions restart. And good clean racing throughout the field. We had 12 guys with 0x.
We had
everybody
good
else.
Cars too. Our team specifically, we were
Turn
fast.
2 terribles. Team turn 2 terribles was good. We were all running in the top 10 pretty strong. Me and Chris and Josh and Jeremy. There was times where we were running 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So it was a good night overall.
between the Terribles and the Posse team.
Yep.
Our little stepchildren over there.
Yep.
And Jaden.
Jaden
Jaden got a third.
If David Smeal didn't speed on pit road, he was probably winning the race, according to him. I don't believe that. But.
I've heard that.
It's like he would have won Daytona if he didn't wreck on the costume.
If this big thing didn't happen, I would have won. That's David Smeal every night.
So yeah, I mean,
he saved his tires really well. But yeah, so you had William Brown win. Great for him. He was fast. He raced on me a lot early. He actually followed me to the front in that first run. Really good speed.
He led 66 laps. I mean, he pretty much dominated.
Once he got there, he was gone. And then Jeremy, BP, our good old friend there, Presley, he's
BP
around for us there at the end. That was good. Great night. Looking forward to this week.
Yeah,
Wednesday night.
We had 4 cars in the top 5.
Yee.
6 in the top 10.
Yee.
The only one that didn't get top 10 is Smeal, correct?
Actually, yep. There is a very weak link in our chain.
Yee.
You better be doing pit road practice right now.
This week we go to Richmond. That's what we'll probably be practicing right after this. So, shouts out to Robbie Bison, that whole crew over there. I know Stan Mayberry just subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much.
Let's go. Thanks, Stan.
They all help. They all run a pretty good league over there. It's a lot of no bullshit, just good, fun, clean racing. When we were done in like an hour and a half, it was great. It was like perfect. So, shouts out to them. Definitely fun time. Looking forward to tomorrow on Wednesday night. And we're going to end it off with a new segment that we're going to try out here. We don't know what to call it yet, but you kind of know the drill. So what we need, before we get into this, is we need all your help to come up with the name for this segment. We got a couple different names. We got, let's see here. Go back to look at some of the fucking stupid things that we were saying. I said next gen or D-gen. The one, poor Smeal.
Nobody ever said that.
FDS.
FDS, 100%. What were some of the other names? Damn it.
Drink it up, pour it out, whatever Smeal said.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find.
Disqualify that one.
He said, drink it or dump it. I like drink it or dump it. Rip the top or roll the bottom, throttle up, throttle down, upshift, downshift. Basically, what we're going to do is we're just going to do a quick round table.
I like good or bad.
Give me one, basically, good or bad. You've got to come up with a cool name or something, though. But we're going to go around. Give me one good thing from this weekend that you saw, driver, anything, and give me one bad award. It's like, you fucked up, bro, type of award.
You have to go first here.
I got to go first?
I know where you're going, so I just
$100 says I know what his bad is.
And I also know probably what his good is. Go ahead.
You don't know what my good is.
My bad. I know what my good is.
My good is Chris Buescher. That motherfucker was on fire in his cockpit, went 2 laps down, still finished his 10th. That was awesome. It was great. Like I thought he was done. He was in pits. I guess his rocker box caught on fire. They're spraying. His whole car's covered in the fire extinguishers, dust and everything like that. He goes back out. He finishes 10th. He had a car that could have maybe have won. He was very, very strong. He's been really, really good at road courses. For him to go back out there and still finish 10th that was phenomenal to me.
He helped my DraftKings out for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And my bad is, I don't need to go too far into it, but Shelton Hansfield. Fuck you.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Never saw that one coming.
Fuck Sheldon Hansfield, stupid asshole. I'm the president of the club. Come find me. You know where to find me. I'll be at Port Royal, turn 2, actually. I'll be at Sealands Grove this Saturday with our boy Alex Robinson. But you'll know where to find me. You can find me. If you want to find me, just hit me on our socials and you can come talk to me about it if you want.
He won't have any backup either, so you can
leave your helmet.
I don't need backup. David Salter over here saying with the dry cam, surprised he was still able to breathe. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it was engulfed. he
asked
could
him
not
how he was
see.
doing.
Yeah,
He's like, I
and
just can't see. It's like, oh,
that
okay.
that was one of the most badass performances I've seen. I thought he was, because when I saw him running later in the race, I'm like, I thought for sure as soon as I saw the car on fire, because you see that type of stuff in like F1 and stuff all the time. Like as soon as something like that happens, they're done for the race. They're parking it. Usually that would be the case even with a NASCAR, but still able to keep going. Which one do you guys want to go next?
Josh.
Josh, let's go, Josh.
All right. We already talked about it. My bad. It's Joey Logano.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I think he kind of set the tone for the end of those races, and it was just, he's one of the veterans, and he's got to be able to teach these guys how to race people with respect. And if he's going to drive like that, he's just setting himself up for many years of getting driven like that. So, it's Joey Logano, so he's used to it. But
Yeah, he's always
my
bad.
good, Cody Ware.
Oh boy.
Managed to not hit everything on the track. Have you seen that video?
That canopy.
Yeah,
He
that's
actually missed something on the track.
Well
true.
played.
Shouts out Cody Ware. Cheers to Cody Ware.
Honorable mention to Todd Gillian. Hell of a finish, top 5. That's
That
huge for
whole top
team.
10 was like every single person in the top 10. I was like, good for them. You know what I mean? Like that was pretty good. Chris, hit us with it.
The good's got to be Bubba Wallace. First top 10 on a road course. Third straight top 5, thanks to Ross Chastain's little excursion. Third straight top 5, right? I think it is, or third straight top 10.
Third straight top 10. He finished 8th at Pocono.
So building momentum, he needed that. That team needed that after a year and a half into it. They're starting.
That team's becoming a threat that if they win a race here.
Right, and even if they don't, they're going to win a race. I think they can win a race, maybe not before the playoffs, but by the end of the season. And I think they're setting up well for next year. They're finally figuring things out. So, and on a road course, of all places, where usually you think of, and not even that they finished there. Obviously, it was a topsy-turvy race, but you didn't even see him involved. Usually, you see him spinning out somewhere. He had one little incident that wasn't really even his fault. Usually, he's chaos all day on a road course, or broken. Like Sonoma, I think he blew up in the first 2 laps.
I mean, he didn't get away scot-free. Like he was in the grass and stuff. But everybody was, so it helped.
It wasn't his normal. We're like, oh god, what's he doing now?
Right.
So definitely progress for him. So good on him. Progress.
Shuts up, Bubba.
Bad. I don't know about bad here. I'm not taking.
Come on, you like to be negative. Let's go.
I'm not that negative. I don't know who I want to be negative on here. Honorable mention, Ty Gibbs.
Well, I'm going to drink to Bubba Wallace.
Salter said his top was AJ hanging in there. That's a good one.
Hell yeah,
AJ,
that was a good one. He's probably straight up had a heat stroke.
That in-car camera of him on that last restart, he was dying.
Well. He was that. He went to go take a sip of his drink, and then are you kidding me? was just that was so. Cheers to AJ Allmendinger.
See, I can't use Ross Chastain as my bad because it was hyper impressive that he did not wreck Charlie Reddick there. So I guess the bad.
The FTS, a terrible, being the anchor of our team right now.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
David Salter.
Don't want to wreck me.
David Salter, what was your bad person of the week once we figure out a cool slogan for this?
Bad person of the week.
Who was your bad person of the week? He gave us AJS's top. So who's your bad person, Chris?
I don't know. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of bad people in the world, man. I know who it is. 2. Ferrari.
Oh, now you got
all
two
of them.
Yeah.
And John Hunter Nemechek. I had it earlier. Forgot about him.
Yeah.
Nemo is going in there like a dick. Nemechek was the one I had in my head, but I forgot. Ferrari, they deserve it too. So they both get it. Both D-Gen.
Yeah, I forgot about Nemechek. That's a good one too.
Yeah, that is a good one. I like that. I think we should call it.
Yep.
I like the drink it or dump it. I like because
I think you should pour one out for the homies.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was kind of thinking dump one out.
Pour it out.
Yep.
Also,
I'll
pour
it out in my mouth. You're not gonna be here next week?
I told you I'm on vacation next week. No Williams Grove, no Pracky Bow, no Vegas. Yeah, but Salter said whoever read Harvick, all 5 of them people are
Yeah, I felt bad for Harvick, man.
All
He
5
had
of
another
those
one.
cars.
You know what? I'll do a pour one out for Ryan Blaney. I know that's kind of not part of this, but like I felt bad for him, man. He just ran top 5 all race and got dumped. But yeah, Kevin Harvick too. I think he said something. He's like,
Yeah.
"Tell me everyone that was in that wreck. I'm gonna go
I'm
fight
gonna
him."
wreck 'em all.
Basically, he's basically what he was.
I
Basically
want
what he was saying.
names.
I can tell you this: he will act on it at some point down the year. Just bing. See
Oh
ya.
yeah, he's gonna have to at some point too. You know what I mean? If he wants to get
He
in the
won't have anything.
playoffs,
Well, even if he doesn't,
he's
that's
gonna have
more
nothing
scary.
left to lose. So you might as well just go for it.
At one point, the Blaney Dinger restart, when Dinger was 2, Blaney was like 3 or 4. Our DraftKings, I was winning it, and I had 4 out of the top 5 cars. I was like, "This is it. I got this thing nailed." I finished dead last,
Yep.
and my highest finishing was Todd Gilliland, and Chris comes out of nowhere.
Right, I thought I was toast whenever Busher was on fire, freaking Chastain got wrecked, and like, all these things happening. Like, I'm done. And I looked, like that night, I got an email that I had won something. I was like, get the hell out of here.
I think I was leading the DraftKings until the Larson thing. David Salter, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Thank you all for hanging out with us. If you're listening to this after, please like and subscribe. Come hang out with us on the live stream. Give us a drop in the comments what you think we should call this segment, and also give us your good and your bad. Who are you drinking it up, and who are you dumping it out for? Leave them in the comments, guys. Well, I guess Josh, we're gonna have to find a replacement for Chris next week.
I might know a guy.
I might know a couple guys.
Maybe I'll call in.
We'll
Nah,
have a
it's
call.
okay. We don't need
No, I
you
mean-
that bad.
I meant call in the show, not be on the show. Do a
Yeah.
diligence.
Do it.
We'll see. We'll see what Monday looks like. Let's move in day at the new place. New
Oh,
campsite.
got ya. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Like I said, please like and subscribe and all that cool stuff that these cool kids say. But drop some comments. Let us know what you guys think. Things you like and don't like about the podcast. What you guys think we should call that segment. Give us your good and your bad from the week. We want to hear from you guys. Till next time, now, until next week, stay terrible.